Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and more specifically, Budget Bombs.
This time, we're doing dollar or less win conditions.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Do you like spending very little money and getting good results in Commander? Finding the niche budget cards that are going to complete your deck that lets you compete with higher decks? We've got all that stuff for you, so you better subscribe to the channel so we can show you.
And besides, you want to be subscribed to this channel because our subscribers are 10% more thebomb.com.
Disclaimer guy here. Do I gotta do these anymore? They said you're thebomb.com. I don't even know why you gotta have a disclaimer for that.
That's probably a reference to something.
Maybe. I think it's just like when the internet came out. That was something people thought was cool. Anyway, for those who might not know, what is Budget Bombs?
All Budget Bombs means is we're talking about budget cards. Under $1 specifically, that's our range that we try to stick to because you can go under 50 cents, you can go under a quarter, but we're under $1 because even though we do budget stuff in this channel, we tend to stay on a little higher end of the budget stuff.
Yeah, our stuff is, we usually don't care about budget. We just care about making the coolest deck, and then obviously, if you want to switch stuff out, you can. So we've been doing, oh, well, you want to switch stuff out. Here's all of the stuff that we like to go to that's cheap cards that I would switch out for higher stuff. And this one I think is huge because doing research for this was impossible. I could not find like a comprehensive list of budget win conditions, like cards that you can play that actually win you the game. So I'm hoping this is going to help like 1 million people.
You know, like even our Budget Bomb series is a unique series to find cards that are under $1. Like trying to find budget cards other than in decks. Like if you can find, I can find budget decks everywhere on YouTube. As for budget cards specifically, like just overall good budget cards, can't really find that. So let's get to our first one. What's our very first win condition that we have here?
So we've got 12 different win conditions. Some of them are multiple cards. Some of them are just one card. But this first one involves Sun Titan, 6 mana, 6/6, that when it enters or attacks, you get a permanent with mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to battlefield. Angel of Glory's Rise, a 7 mana angel that gets back all your humans from your graveyard to play when it enters. And that's going to, either one of those are going to work with Fiend Hunter, which is a 3 mana 1/3 that enters the battlefield. You can exile another target creature. And then when it leaves, the creature comes back. So any sack outlet or way to, sack creatures over and over and over, which we didn't really include here because they're all typically, like, you can find a fair amount of them for cheap. So whichever way you want to go with the sacrifice outlet. But Fiend Hunter and Sun Titan, well, Fiend Hunter exiles Sun Titan. Then you sack Fiend Hunter. It's dead. Sun Titan comes back, gets back Fiend Hunter. So you have infinite dies and enters triggers and Angel of Glory's Rise. Infinite human triggers if you have more than just Fiend Hunter, or infinite dies and enters triggers. So Sun Titan, 80 cents. Angel of Glory's Rise, 57 cents. Fiend Hunter, 20 cents. Or you probably have one lying around in your bulk box.
Yeah. And also on top of that, if you really want to add in things that don't cost, if you want the sack outlet and the payoff to cost less than $1, Zulaport Cutthroat under $1 and Carrion Feeder under $1.
Right. That just dips you into black, but there are several, like I know off the top of my head, how much is Spawning Pit? Like $1?
I don't know.
Ish. Like there are easily, I think, sack outlets, like that could be a whole video too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to maybe necessarily spoil, but this is the core of how you actually win. I wanted all of these to, because you could say, oh, well, these are really good cards and you probably maybe win. Like most of these are like slam dunk wins that are like super cheap to acquire.
Yeah, this one is actually a win because as long as you have the payoff and the sack outlet, you just go off. This next one is a pseudo win in the sense of it doesn't necessarily end the game, but barring some very good draws from your opponent, it ends the game most of the time. We have Narset Powder Veils, who is currently 87 cents. Get those right away. If you have a deck that wants a Narset, get it right now because that card is so cheap. That card was $4 like a year ago. Card is great. And it goes with Megas to the Wheel or Whispering Madness, which are both wheel effects. Essentially, they discard their hand and then they draw that many cards. So what we're getting here is they can't draw extra cards because of Narset Part of the Veil static. So they're going to be drawing one card each because it's going to be on your turn most likely. And you're going to be drawing a full hand. So each opponent goes to one card. You go to a full hand. That usually results in a victory.
Yeah, Mages of the Wheel is guaranteed 7, but Whispering Madness could be more than 7. If somebody has like 10 cards, they lose them all except for 1, and then you get 10.
It also could be less.
It could be less. Although, like, I'm kind of counting opponents have no resources, but you do as you're going to win. You're a heavy favorite to win.
Yes, this one puts you as a heavy favorite. I'd say it probably puts you in the 90th percentile.
Like, this is a win condition. Okay, this is like, how'd they beat you? Well, he assembled Narset and then wheeled, and nobody had a hand.
Yeah, 90% to win.
I've said that before at how games concluded. Next up, we have 2 separate cards, but they're both can be win conditions in and of themselves. The first one is Swarm Intelligence, 6 and a blue for an enchantment. Every time you cast an instant or sorcery, copy it. And Double Vision, same thing, but it's 5 mana, and it only copies the first one each turn.
If you're playing an instant speed deck with red, I think Double Visions is an underrated card. I didn't realize it until I was like reading it earlier. Like I was looking for some budget cards just because we were getting together a lot of budget stuff for this, and then we came up with this idea off of looking at budget stuff. I saw this card and I'm like, this seems like a very strong EDH card. If you're playing an instant speed, you're going to be doubling so many spells. This is a 5-mana investment. Yeah, it's a 5-mana do nothing, but when you cast one Preordain, you just got your value from that, and that you can just keep going off on other people's turns. This card is really good, I think.
There's spells you can cast for free. There's spells with delve, so like you could Double Vision Treasure Cruise in a turn, or hold up even have like 2 counter spells up or something. So Swarm Intelligence, I will say, is a win condition, but you can't just throw it in a deck and say, why didn't I win? It's like you have to be like a Storm type deck. If you're looking for this slots in as like an exact 1-for-1 for like 1,000-Year Storm and all of those like expensive Stormy payoffs, which usually aren't even that expensive, but I like Swarm Intelligence as I'm playing rituals and card draw, like I'm going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Swarm Intelligence, again, it's in the right deck, it's great. Same thing with Double Vision. They both go in essentially what I would consider basically the same decks, but they're both going to be very good. If you're playing at sorcery speed with more Stormy, I would say Swarm Intelligence is a better one. If you're playing a lot of instants, Double Visions giving you that 2-mana discount could be huge.
Oh yeah. Swarm Intelligence, 43 cents. Double Vision, 57 cents. Those like absolute steals. Those combined are $1.
I will say that Double Visions will at one point reach a couple dollars because
prediction.
It's just a good EDH card. It's just a cool EDH card. People love cards like this.
We'll see you next year for our cards to pick up from M21. And then we'll be like, we told you.
All right, so we have Awaken the Erstwhile and Identity Crisis. Awaken the Erstwhile is 28 cents, and it makes you discard everybody discards their hand, and they get 2/2 zombies equal to that. If you're someone who's playing out of their graveyard, like a Carador deck, this can just be a win con, essentially. And we have Identity Crisis, which just does to one player, and it essentially eliminates that player because it also exiles their graveyard. Card is mean, and it's 47 cents.
Yeah, if you're looking for like Identity Crisis, I like into like a really budget Sora Markov. Like this is 6 mana, same mana cost. You just pick somebody. They have no resources. Everything in play is all they have now. They have their commander, and they got their lands, and they got their creatures. And if you ramped into this and played on like turn 4, they're just done.
Yes,
they're like starting from square one, ground zero, whatever.
Yeah, Identity Crisis is not a fun card. Awaken the Erstwhile also not a fun card. People like having resources, and you take away a lot of resources playing this card on turns 3 and 4. It's insane.
Yeah, the second you want to be in a discard deck or you have waste not effects or anything, this is going to easily win you the game. The zombies, the best part is they don't matter. We've played this card before. The zombies just don't do anything. The annoying part is I have no hand now.
I've learned one thing with when you play the discard deck, you need to make your opponents draw. It's weird.
You want them to have stuff.
It turns out you have so many discard effects that making them draw is what you want to do. So you want group hug draw stuff in those decks.
Yeah, if you're doing that, just a little tidbit of advice.
Yeah, for the Awaken the Erstwhile's deck, get some group hug draw. Next is a great card. It's Command the Dreadhorde. It's 50 cents, and it costs 6 mana to bring back any number of planeswalkers and creatures from the graveyard, and you lose life equal to their converted mana cost. And like BZ mentioned in our last video,
well, I will say, like I mentioned, if you have the Wanderer in play, I don't know if I made that clear enough, but if you have the Wanderer in play and then you cast Command the Dreadhorde, it will prevent the damage dealt to you, or something that prevents non-combat damage dealt to you. Mm-hmm. That needs to be in play, and then when you cast Command Dreadhorde, all your stuff's free. Doesn't matter if you're taking 100. This is such a budget version of, obviously, Rise to Dark Realms comes to mind, where you just get everything that actually matters, and you can still win. Oh, I'll take your Titan and your Haste Enabler and your dumb Demon. So I take 20 damage, but I win.
Yeah, we've talked about how the budget version of good cards usually become not budget. It's kind of funny. Like, oh, this is the budget Command Dreadhorde, and then it becomes $10. Just like, what was it? Is it Primal Vigor?
We totally mentioned it. And Primal Vigor. Oh yeah, the budget doubling season.
Yep.
Went up to like $25.
Exactly. Budget doubling season is $25. How silly is that?
Yeah. This next one, these next two, basically the same card. I made a deck around it, and they are definitely win conditions. The first one is Warp World. It's 80 cents. It's 8 mana. You shuffle. Everyone shuffles all their permanents into their deck, and then they're going to flip that many cards, and all of the non-planeswalker permanents go into play, and the rest just kind of die.
Next is the Great Aurora. It's 73 cents, and it says that each player counts the number of cards in their hand, the number of permanents they have on a battlefield, and they shuffle those into their library. You draw the many cards equal to the number you just counted to, which is your hand and the permanent you had, and you put all the lands from your hand into play, and then you have the rest of your hand. That's where they are.
So with Warp World, I'm going to take all these dumb Eldrazi spawn and extra lands I put out and clue tokens, and I'm going to make the difference between my number of permanents and your number of permanents very large, so that when we shuffle everything in, I'm looking at 40 cards and you're looking at 15 cards, and you're just going to lose.
Same thing with the Great Aurora, where you want your hand to be huge and you want your battlefield to be huge. And if you're doing 40 and they're doing 15, or if they're doing 20 even, your number is so much higher. You get such an insane advantage. And also with the Great Aurora, you immediately get to have all those extra lands. It's so good.
Yeah, the difference is that Great Aurora is always a board wipe, so you can play it when you're behind as long as you have enough cards to actually recover if your total is high enough. Plus, you can just play like dumb draw sevens and then, without affecting the board, just play it for huge advantage.
Yep.
And then float mana with either one of these, and then all the lands come in untapped, so you can just like storm off.
Yeah, both of them put all the lands into play, which is a huge benefit. Again, you're the first one that gets to take advantage of these. So even though these cards are, Warp World intended to be a chaos card, it can really just be a card that's made to win you the game.
Yeah, you make it as soon as you make it a numbers game, these are hardcore win conditions. Like, don't sleep on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, we have Comet Storm. What's Comet Storm?
Yeah, so it's X red for an instant. It's got multi-kicker. Costs 50 cents. That's on the card. This mythic rare has to always cost 50 cents. And you deal X damage to any target, and then you add a target for each time you kick it. So let's say I want to hit all my opponents. Well, I need to pay 5 mana up front, and then everything in X gets tripled. So if I pay 25 mana, I deal 60 damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. I don't know if you know that.
Right. This is a budget. If you want to play like either of your Exsanguinates and Debt to the Deathlesses, but I like this one. Red is very good at generating a buttload of mana easily. If you're in like a Storm deck and you just need some payoff, and you're like, well, I don't have, this crazy stuff for these mythic rare X spells that haven't been printed 25,000 times like Comet Storm has for some reason. I don't think this card is bad at all. I think it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, and next we have a combo. And it's actually a mono red combo. We have Dual Caster Mage and Heat Shimmer. Dual Caster Mage 35 cents. Heat Shimmer is 49 cents. And you cast Heat Shimmer on any creature, doesn't matter the target. Dual Caster Mage, copy Heat Shimmer, targeting Dual Caster Mage. Dual Caster Mage comes out with haste. Do it until you have infinite Dual Caster Mages. Attack for infinite.
Yeah, Heat Shimmer gives haste, so you have an infinite number. It's literally just like Splinter Twin. Both of these cards have functions outside of the combo too, kind of unlike Splinter Twin, where they don't really do much depending on your deck. I mean, especially like what does Pestermite do?
Yeah, what is
nothing?
Pestermite, Deceiver, Exarch are really bad cards outside of the combo.
Yeah, Dual Caster Mage can copy anyone's spells. You're always gonna find a use for it, and Heat Shimmer can maybe do something. It's probably the Pestermite of the group, but you can just make a big attacker if you have those. But I think this is like, since Heat Shimmer got reprinted in Double Masters, this was not available in the budget bombs, umbrella, but Heat Shimmer went down from like $5 to like 50 cents, so definitely get some.
Yeah, a lot of cards in Double Masters are very low, and actually when I was going and looking for budget stuff, I found a lot of cool stuff because of Double Masters.
Budget bombs really just does that. What a great series. Can't believe the people who made that are just so awesome.
Yeah, we are pretty awesome. Next is Champion of Lampholt. It's a 1/1 for 3 mana, and creatures with power less than it cannot block your creatures, period. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of Lampholt. This gets big fast. You can just make your stuff unblockable. Once it's at 6 or 7, nothing's blocking.
Yeah, no. You go wide, and this thing goes big, and nothing can block any of your guys. So not only are you going to get in with like an 8/8 or something, your 10 1/1s, they're going to get in too. And if you want to Anthem them, someone's dead.
Watch out for the worst reprint from Double Masters to gonna get you.
Yeah, watch out. This was already screaming for a budget bombs include, and then they're like, hold on, we got this Double Masters reprint. Get ready to open this, and get ready to open Champion of Lampholt and Heat Shimmer in your Double Masters packs.
Oh God, you can really get hosed by Double Masters.
Yeah, but Champion of Lampholt obviously falls, and this next one will fall into like, okay, how am I going to replace Craterhoof Behemoth or these giant, massive power toughness boosters? Like your Triumph for the Hordes. How am I going to replace that and get semi-reliable results? Well, Champion of Lampholt, it comes down early. You don't have to. It doesn't ever rot in your hand. It's just 3 mana. It comes down. It's never going to not get bigger. and then eventually whoosh, lets you get that alpha.
Yeah, it's a completely reasonable card. And next is End-Raze Forerunners, which is an 8-mana 7/7 with haste, vigilance, and trample. And when it enters the battlefield, each creature you control gets +2/+2 and trample.
It is other creatures.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it only attacks
creatures.
for 7.
Yeah, for some reason, he doesn't want to do it to himself, unlike Craterhoof.
Yeah, anyway, this is the actual budget Craterhoof. It is so much worse, but you just need to go wider, and you'll still get the same result. People are going to die. Maybe instead of Craterhoof going free roll, kill everybody, you spend $50 less and you just kill 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, I mean, it's noticeably worse, but it's noticeably cost about 100 times less.
Yeah, it basically is, right? Like Craterhoof is like 1,000% more expensive than this.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If you value money a lot, or if you're in a tight spot where you can't spend $50 on 1% of your deck, End-Raze Forerunners is like a no-brainer for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like literally times 100, and then you have Craterhoof's price. That's
Right.
about correct. Yeah.
Where in some games you won't even notice that it matters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you want the most competitive deck, get your Kratos. If you're looking to save $42,
No, $49.
$49. Yeah, $49.50. I think it's on the $41.
The Jumpstart one is, but the other ones are 50.
Oh, well, still ridiculous. What's the next one?
Next up is another great X spell, except you don't have to do it for as many as Comet Storm. It's Villainous Wealth. X and a Sultai for a sorcery. You're going to exile the top X card to someone's library. You get to cast all the non-lands for free.
Cool card. I like this card a lot. You get to cast any number of things. I don't know. I've been a huge fan of this. I just like casting other people's stuff a lot, and like this is one of the ways to do it the most.
Here's the thing. If you want to, all you need is mana, and then budget is no longer in consideration. Their deck is going against them. Their entire deck. Like, if you take 20 spells from someone's deck for free, you're just going to win. It really doesn't even matter what they are.
Well, not if they're playing the worst. So there are definitely decks where you can villainous wealth them for 20 and be like, sure, I guess I don't win, but you weren't ever going to win either.
But you're so far ahead. You just need like dumb cultivates and stuff. This puts you so far ahead where you're just like, all right, I have this impenetrable wall. I didn't win, but how do I lose?
That's completely fair.
Villainous Wealth is super good. If you are in any sort of Sultai big mana deck and you need a budget win con, I would look no further. It's like the best thing you could play.
Yeah, it's again super cheap, so that's what you're looking for. That's what we're talking about. Budget bombs.
Cheap and effective though. It actually will get you all these cards will actually get you wins.
Except for maybe this last one. This last one's a tough one to pull off.
The spice.
It's Maze's End, which is a cardless gate that enters the battlefield.
It's not a gate.
Oh, you're right.
Can you remember all of the slow wording on this card?
Cardless land
slower.
Enters the battlefield tapped. It produces cardless mana, and you pay 3, tap it, search your library for a gate card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then return Maze's End to its owner's hand. And if you control 10 or more gates at the beginning of your upkeep, you win the game.
No, it's when you activate. If you have then, after you bounce Maze's End, you have 10 or more gates with different names, you win.
Okay.
So there are 11 gates, obviously, with different names. So you can put, this is like a 5-color, maybe if you're a 5-color control nonsense deck, you can play this in as a splashy win con. It's obviously, this makes your whole mana base instantly budget. There's stuff like Circuitous Route, which is really good at getting gates, Gate Creeper Vine. You can play even the more expensive stuff if you want to splurge on like Amulet's Vigor and make these cards not completely awful to play. You can do that. With Maze's End, I'll recommend things like Explore, but there's also, or Exploration, but if you want to go budget, there's like Walking Atlas. Okay, I'll return it and then just play it again. So you don't even feel the effect of not like missing your land drop.
Well, I mean, you're not missing your land drop. It's just switching out. It's just costing 3 mana to turn it into
4 mana. It's it and 3. It's so brutal.
It is 4 mana to switch it into a different card, basically.
Yeah, get your Hour of Promises, get your Circuitous Routes, and maybe you can cheese out a win.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably cheese out a win or two with this card. This card's annoying, but though you get so targeted if you have like 5 gates out in this, people are going to start targeting you.
Well, it's also the win condition is in your land slot, so you don't really have to sweat it too bad. If you just control the board enough, you're going to get there. Just make sure that you know that people are going to gun at you. Now that they know they see this stupid Maze's End.
Yeah, much like Approach the Second Sun, where people know it's coming.
Well, you can also hold the Maze's End. Maybe. Oh yeah, guys, I just have a bunch of gates. Like it's up to them to make the connection. Still,
it's still enters tapped.
Yeah, well, it's still enters tapped, but you can untap it or something. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's our budget bomb win conditions. Don't know. Ask why I said it so weird. It doesn't matter.
Shoutouts.
Special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. If you would like to join them and become a patron, you can head down to the link in the description below. And if you're if you're a patron by the end of August 2020, you will be entered to win a foil Crater of Behemoth.
That's for real. We're not talking Maze and Rays Forerunners. We're talking foil Crater of Behemoth.
Yes, foil Crater of Behemoth. What else can they?
Maybe next month's prize will be the N-Rays Forerunners.
What else can they do if they want to support the channel?
Well, they can go to tcgplayer.com and the link in the description. That's going to take you to all the cards we just listed that are budget bomb win conditions, asterisks that actually win you the game. We are not false advertising. These cards are all good. We would never false advertise and make videos for no reason. Once you go to that link, you can buy any of the cards for like no money. And when you do, we'll get a kickback on the order. You can also go to buy more expensive cards, Funko Pops, Yu-Gi-Oh! Trash, whatever you like to do.
Dang, calling out Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, I didn't specify that the cards were trash. Maybe there's actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Like discarded booster wrappings on TCG Player.
Don't think they sell that. If you can't get enough of me, and sometimes never Beezy.
Never sometimes me.
It's, I stream on Twitch weekdays at 10 o'clock, and I stream for a few hours, usually about 4 or so. It depends on how I'm feeling. And I stream Magic mostly, a lot of drafting. Just sitting on my cat draft today because I was bored. Went 7-0, obviously.
10 a.m. weekdays Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
And sometimes you stream Fall Guys because that's popular.
I just stream Fall Guys because it's fun.
We've got our ear to the, what is it? Our finger on the pulse of the community. I think that's what it's called. Right?
I can't feel my pulse.
All right. Well, that's weird. We should probably go, huh?
I'm going to die.
Okay.
Peace out, Tribe Scout.